The urban philosopher Percy Miller has a mantra that he lives by and built his empire off of: no limit, being a no limit soldier. And he accomplished that and did that because he put a limit to his limitations. I remember at one point he shared in an interview how he was offered maybe like $1 million and he just left the deal because he felt like, if somebody is willing to pay me $1 million, how much am I really worth? So he put a limit on the limitations, even in that situation, that appeared to be, something that many had sought after. He put a limit on his limitations. When we think about limitations, we tend to think about that obstacle, the hardship that we're going through. We may feel like a muzzle or a safety, some type of hindrance. I used to like sports cars a lot, and I realized when I was younger that a lot of sports cars had governors, or there's a hurdle, something that's slowing us down. And if we were to think about a race, right? If I was sprinting on the track, that's an uninterrupted path. But there's another race called the hurdles, and the runner, they have to build up and get that good speed going, but they have to also be able to understand, prepare, and train and know that a hurdle is coming up. And when you get to like gold medal status, it's down to the point where the runner knows. For men, it's about 13 strides, and for a woman, it's on average 15 strides. So they hit those strides and they get ready to jump. So once again, if I was just running track, it's uninterrupted. But if I have those hurdles, which there are in life, you prepare for it, you train for it, you expect these hurdles to come. And that's how it is with life. We will encounter hurdles on our path. So how do we break those hurdles? Sometimes we have to move towards the fear. There are things that I fear. There are things that I feel uncomfortable around or doing, and we have to move towards it. That's how we begin to break that. We don't want that to be the limit that holds us back. We have to think big, but we have to start small. I wanted to drop a certain amount of weight. Today is day number 392 or 393. Been running every single day for the last 390 something days. I'm down over 50 pounds, so I'm thinking big. But I had to start small because I'm only doing 1 mile a day. We have to, when we feel uncomfortable, we have to be able to ask questions, and I may, as an individual, may not always ask questions, but I could testify that there are benefits to that. Break your routine. I just mentioned a routine with my running, but there's other things that I'm going to do. I'm going to get on that elliptical. I'm going to get on the bike and start tying that in as well to kind of break up that routine. And don't be afraid to go into new places and speak to strangers. We never know what we'll learn for those individuals and what they can learn from us. What I like to say, we don't always have to reach for the individual that's quote unquote on top. We could reach, look at our side, look to our left, look to our right, see who do we have, almost like in arm's reach of us. And we could share information because, once again, there's things that they know that we don't know, and vice versa. But remember, I'm a teacher, not a speaker. So there's an animal that lives in the African savannas known as a rhino. Now, these animals could be almost, intimidating. They could run up to speeds over 30 miles per hour. They could weigh over 3 tons. And when we see them, or we tend to think, we see these large protruding horns coming from their heads, and we know that they're known for charging at any type of predator or anything that makes them feel threatened. They charge, so they're charging with 30 miles per hour, a pace of 30 miles per hour with that horn down, with 3 tons of weight behind it. So there's a lot of momentum being built up. So they could be extremely intimidating and appear dangerous. So that rhino is almost like the hurdles that we experience in life. The challenge is something that we think is going to take us out, but there's one thing we may not know about a rhino. It has limitations because of the shape of its head and the placement of its eyes and the placement of where its horn protrudes. It has a limitation that it can only see on average 15 feet in front of it. So if you ever got trapped out in the savannah somewhere and there's a rhino loose, just know that if you are beyond 15 feet from it, it can't even see you, so it has its limitation. That's just an example of the significance of knowing our limitations, but once again having the ability to break through those limitations. I just want to say this: understanding our limitations allows us to plan for the worst, and hope for the best. So we're planning for the worst case scenario, but we are hoping for the best. So that's one of the benefits of having limitations, as well as limitations allow us to make decisions that create a positive impact on our personal growth, or the growth of our business or our organization. So we have to understand our limits, know how to break them. Like I shared, move towards that fear. Think big, start small, ask questions even if uncomfortable, break that routine, go to new places, and speak to strangers. So that's how we break those limitations and not allow them to keep us prisoner, to hold us hostage. Release that governor so you can open up that sports car, take off that safety, so that you can do what you gotta do. Remove that bar. Skies are the limit, so limit the limitations. I'm a teacher, not a speaker. Have an amazing day.